Hello, everybody. Assalamu alaikum. So, some of you asked me to review the chapter 42, which is part of Unit 2 of Business IAL International A Level EdXL. Okay, so this chapter 42 is basically a part of external influences. Like I told you before, that if you want to understand this chapter or try to remember it, so a very good way is to remember this pestle. Okay, so this pestle will help you to remember lots of points that will help you to explain these external influences. Um, in the previous chapters, we discussed about the internal factors of a business, and now we are discussing the uh, external influences. Okay, so pestle includes political, economical, social, technological, legal, and environmental issues. So in chapter 42, we will be focusing on the legal issues. So that is legislation. Okay, so let's move to page 308. Over there, we will have a rest of the discussion. Okay, so let's start. Okay, so legislation. So legislation is basically um, what the law. Okay, the law, the rules and regulation that is implemented in a particular country. If we go against the legislation, then we will be we will be penalized by the government. Okay, so so these legislations uh, also affects the activities of the business. It has a great influence. So let's quickly go through some of the factors. Okay, so first we have um, consumer protection. Okay, so consumer needs protection, right? Like if you can see this diagram, like consumers needs uh, protection from the government because of the product safety. Okay, so the product has to be safe, otherwise the consumer is paying and they won't get a proper service from it. And they, suppose think about a child is buying a toy, and that was also hazardous for them. He got somehow he a small child, he or she tried to chew it, and this uh, lovely toy may cause a choking hazard. So parental guidance is required to keep the product safe. Okay? So these kind of guidelines are very necessary. And these are not luxury, right? So this has to be there has to be there has to be legislation which will be monitoring this, whether these regulations are properly maintained or the instructions are there. Okay, so product safety is one of them. Then we have prices and payment methods. Sometimes consumers overpay. So that's if there is a legislation, then this will be considered as a crime. If someone overcharges, like think about suppose a fizzy drinks you are buying for 10 taka. So if in the on the body of the bottle it's written 20 taka. Okay, so in some particular restaurant they are charging you 40 taka. But this is not allowed because and on the body of the drinks it's written maximum retail price is already written as 20 taka. So it will be a crime. It will be against the legislation. Okay, on also the payment method, sometimes different payment methods may lead to fraudity. So there has to be a um, uh, protection method from by the legislation. Okay, next we have consumer rights. Okay, so consumer is paying for the goods and services, so they also have some rights that need to be ensured. Then there are promotion and advertising. It should not be misleading. There are lots of examples. I'm just shortly giving you. Suppose in some advertising, they're claiming they're the best. And by using their goods and services, you will become a Superman. But it might not be the case. These are misleading advertisement. So these are not allowed. Then also there are sort of rules and regulation, like think about tobacco, alcohol. This kind of advertising is illegal in many countries. So the business need to maintain that. Then we have trading and age restrictions. Okay, like in some countries, there are restrictions like you cannot sell tobacco or alcohol to mm, um, uh, minor citizens, like below 16 or below 18. So this kind of yeah, what legislation is also important, and also the product quality. You're paying a huge amount, but you're not getting value for money, or you're not getting appropriate quality. So you can also uh, go to the government and ask for help with the help of legislation. Okay, so these are the things over here. So let's quickly move to other part. Obviously there why consumer needs this legislation. So one of the thing is increase and so we already discussed it. So now we will be discussing um, uh, what are the effect on the business? Okay, this is a popular question in your A-level exam. So there you will find that how will it affect the business? One of the main thing is increase in cost. When you're trying to you're making your product safe or high quality and maintaining different standards, it will increase your production cost. So business may suffer because of this legislation in terms of increase in cost. Then again, we have quality control. The quality control department of the business has to be very cautious so that it meets the standard of the legislation. Then dealing with consumer complaints. So whenever consumers are coming up with an issue, all the business need to deal with this issue and comply with all kind of complaints according to the legal system. And then we have changes in the business practices. Some of the practices that might not be treated as legal anymore. If a legislation is passed against a business practice. Okay, suppose a particular practice, like suppose multi-level marketing. Okay, so some say these are fraud system and everything, but it's not actually. Um, but it is commonly misused in different countries in different situation. So now in our country we have a proper legislation based on that. Okay, so that can be an example. So after a legislation, the business practices also have to be changed. So next is employee protection. And so just like the consumers, employees also need protection, and there are proper laws for that. What kind of contracts will be there? between the employer and the employees. And so it's written in the contract. There should not be any kind of discrimination in terms of gender or race or disability, or sexual orientation. It should be like free from this kind of biased behavior towards the employees. So there are lots of acts mentioned over here, which are passed in UK, like Equality Act 2010, or Sex Discrimination Act 1975. So this kind of act or law prohibits any kind of discrimination. And okay, then unfair dismissal. So the workers or the employees are not guilty, but still they're getting a punishment. Suppose an employee, she became pregnant, and because of that, she is getting fired. So that's a very unfair thing to do. Okay, so now there are proper acts based on that, how company will deal with this situation. So if company fires an employee because of this reason, the company will face serious consequences in terms of penalty and other punishment as well. Then we have equal pay. It has to be there. In some countries, there are cases where men are provided more salaries than women. This is also yeah, prohibited according to this law, Equal Pay Act 1970. So how it affects the business? So complying cost. So to comply with all this legal situation and new laws, the cost of the business will rise. Okay, so there are we already discussed it, so I'm not going through in details. But this higher level labor cost will be an issue as well because of the national minimum wage. So national minimum wage is it's a law which mentions the minimum amount that need to be paid for to an employee. No one can pay below that amount. So this may increase the labor cost as well as the production cost for the business. Then we have changing working practices. Lots of different practices are there which are prohibited. Suppose children child labor, it's illegal in many countries. This is an example, and lots of other examples are there. You should go through all these examples, and if you have any problem, let me know. And then we have loss of flexibility. Loss of flexibility, things might become a bit rigid for the business. Not all kind of practices are allowed because of the specific guidelines mentioned in the legislation. Then we talked about the penalties. It's there. So see, lots of negative effects are there. But there are some pros, some positive effects as well. It will have a positive effect on the business because the moral of the employees will rise, and lots of immoral activities and exploitation on worker will reduce, and this will improve the motivation as well. So this high motivated employees will lead to better productivity for the business. Okay. Then we have environmental protection. Environmental protection, so it's a comparatively new issue. If you see that there was a time that it was often ignored because if you want to produce more, there will be adverse effect on the environment. We knew it, but we were not concerned about it. But now it's becoming a day by day, it's becoming a very big issue because of global warming and other mm, uh, hazardous activities are all around us. What are the specific problems? There are something mentioned over here like pollution. We have air pollution, sound pollution, noise pollution, that water pollution, lots of different kind of pollution are there. You know them. Then we have destruction of wildlife habitats. So lots of animals and plants, they're endangered, and they are becoming destroyed because of that. They are becoming extinct because of uh, this hazardous production methods. So this is an important issue. Then we have traffic congestion. So lots of traffic are in the road. That means we are involved with lots of economic activity. That's a good thing, right? But it's also slowing down our activity. Okay, if we are stuck in the traffic for even if you can think that like you are stuck in the traffic for 5 minutes, so in total the whole economic activity of the country will be reduced to 5 minutes. So 5 minute plus, if you sum up all the 5 minutes of all those people, so it will be cumulative. There will be a huge effect. And it's not 5 minute, trust me, that it sometimes it delays our economic activity. Our schedule gets delayed for even hours and hours. Okay, then resource depletion. So non-renewable resources, if you use them, it will get used up, like oil, coal, gas. So this is a very urgent issue. So we have to focus on renewable resources like solar, water, this kind of thing. So these are all the environmental concerns. So how business is getting affected? Business is so to comply with all those things, definitely production costs will increase. And over here, something is mentioned about the marketing. Many people, all the business, they are focusing on these environmental issues. This is a good thing because the companies who are going through this environmentally friendly production method and practices, there are a good example in the society and in the world. And those who are not complying with it, they get pressurized by the pressure groups like Greenpeace. It's mentioned over here. Okay. Then finance is also an issue if you're, as we mentioned, that environment-friendly production method is expensive. So finance is a big issue. You need this extra amount of money to continue this production method. Then, so where will you get those money? So lots of funds are being created to support this. And if this fund is not managed, then business will be in trouble because it's a very expensive method we are talking about. Okay. Okay, so after finance, we have operations management. Okay, so maybe previously when we were producing, we were not so much concerned about our operation. Who cares if the environment is dying or not? But now it's a big issue. Environmental legislation are there. If our business is found in any kind of activity which is harming the environment, we will be penalized. And also for ethical reason, this is also becoming a big issue. This is a very unethical practice to produce while destroying the environment. Okay, so operation management is changing. Then human resources, there has to be staff who has proper training, who can comply with this environmental standards, environment-friendly production method. It should be known to the employees as well. So training cost is there. Next, there are competition policy. It's another law. Government loves competition because competition in general, what happens that it reduces the price of the goods and services. It increases the quality of goods and services, and also people have access to lots of variety and choices. And so all of this leads to better living standard. So government loves to have they love to have competition in the economy, but it might not be so. It's not a happy news for the business sometimes because this competition increases the production cost and quality. On the other hand, the price is getting lower, so profit is getting affected. So business are put in a very tight situation. And so first of all, it's some anti-competitive or restrictive practices are mentioned over here. There are some of the examples. These activities are done by some of the business which are restricted, which aims to restrict competition in the market. It discourages and prohibits the new entrants in the market, and also discourages the existing competitors. Like the dominant firms try to dominate the market by themselves. They don't want much competition, but government wants them. So these practices are illegal. If government finds out, that they'll take action. For example, like the firms may try to increase prices by restricting market supply. They can also restrict consumer choice, like they can like they may refuse to supply to a particular retailer if they stock rival products. Okay, so it's like a threat to the retail shop. So these kind of practices are illegal. Suppose this is an imaginary example. Suppose Lay's chips. Okay, so Lay's chips, they're trying to uh, uh, restrict consumer choice. Okay, so they're secretly putting an unfair demand on the retailer so that if you keep my rival's product, which are smaller farms, maybe smaller competitors, then the popular brand Lay's, they won't supply goods to that particular retailer. So retailer will be worried, and they may comply with this deal because Lay's is the a popular brand around here. People will be asking for it, and the consumers might not like it if they don't have Lay's chips. So they will go for this kind of demand, illegal demand by a dominant supplier. Okay, so this is just an example. I'm not going through all of them. So there are also other kind of barriers like a heavy amount of spending on advertisement. This may also discourage the new entrants. Then market sharing, like collusion in oligopolistic market, it takes place. What happens that uh, then suppose there are many farms in the market competing, but the dominant farms, a few farms are dominating. So what they do, they are geographically sharing the market, like in area A, there will be Coca-Cola, and in area B, there will be only Pepsi. Okay, so what will happen that if they share the market, there won't be any competition between them. This is also illegal. Okay. Okay, so lots of other examples are there. So there are positive and negative effects on the business. So impacts What are the impacts? These kind of questions are very common. So we have like positive effects like a business, like the small business, they get it's beneficial for them basically, so that the dominant firms won't be able to put any kind of barrier on them. So it's good for them. Then it's also if the competitive environment is there, then there will be there will be always an encouragement on innovation, because you cannot increase the price, and reducing the quality is also not a good idea. So innovation, so firms are pushed to innovation so that they can maintain the profit. Okay, so that's a good thing for the business. And negative effect is like the cost is rising. It's a big problem. Profit will be less, so less expansion, less money for your research and development. So it's a very bad situation for the business. Okay, then health and safety, that's another legislation. So health and safety in the workplace, it's a big concern. There has to be proper safety standards. If you remember, there was a case study in the level exam, and it took the dangerous situation took place in our country. Rana Plaza. Rana Plaza was a building, and in that building there was around maybe 5 to 6 garments factory productions were there, manufacturing farms were there who were producing garments, and these orders were from multinational companies. But the building was a very hazardous situation. It was not safe for the employees, but still the employees were pushed. They were forced to work in that environment, and at one point the whole building collapsed while the production was ongoing, and lots of people died, and many others were injured severely. So it was a dangerous situation, and it was also it also earned a bad name for the multinational companies as well. So yeah, this is a so health and safety is it's a burning issue. And hygiene has to be there. There has to be there should not be any kind of threat or bullying, or breakfast might be there, or proper breaks. The work should not be too much stressful. There has to be proper toilets and washing facilities, the temperature and everything, noise, everything has to be human, like it should not be inhuman, right? So there are some examples mentioned over here, which ensures safety. So that's this example or law are from UK, but all around the world it has been practiced. So what is the effect on the business? So business, if the business does not comply with it, they will suffer from penalties. And if the business follows it, they'll have a good record. So it's a good thing for them. So then, and okay, so it's almost the same thing. I'm talking again and again, so I'm not repeating. Then intellectual property, right? So intellectual property is like it's like an intangible asset for us, right? So suppose copyright, trademark, patent. Okay, so these things helps. A business to support their research and development. Like research and development is very expensive. As the competition is rising, it's necessary. And after this expensive research and development process, the companies are coming out with new thing. And at that time, if other competitors, they just copy and bring that good into the market, it won't be fair for the business who are spending millions maybe millions of dollars on research and development. So the intellectual property rights, it safeguards those company that are okay for a particular time period. Other firms are not allowed to copy. Okay, so this is a good way to help innovation. Okay, so you have to apply for it, and like this book we are going through. This is also a part of copyright. Okay, this book is copyrighted under Pearson publication. Okay, so we are using it for educational purpose, and this is allowed. But if someone tries to photocopy it and sell it, this is not allowed. Okay, so yeah, because this is a very expensive thing. Okay. Okay. So how it affects the business? So the business cost may rise, but the good thing is the business will be protected. The business who will be having this patent or copyright, they will be safeguarded from other businesses who are copying them, right? Okay, so it's all around us. And good idea are hard to keep unique for a long time. Other competitors will definitely try to copy you. So for a particular period of time, it's there to help. Okay, okay, so that's all for today. Okay, so best of luck. Let me know if you have any further problem. Okay.